YouTube, what's going on? It's Jay here again. I got a quick video for you here. I wanted to show you guys some things that I had found at a flea market, and before I go any further, they're not fool's gold or anything that was found in a bin that's worth millions of dollars or anything like that, but they are old Beatle records. And I did do some research on them, and I know that Beatle records are a bit of a collector's market, and there's a lot of ins and outs as far as how to tell what is what, and there were certainly a lot of copies and fakes out there. Now, I do admit to not owning a record player and not being able to listen to any of these to hear what the sound quality is, or even if they're the same versions that we know and love. But I wanted to go over some of these records that I got and what I was able to find on them, and hopefully in some of your travels, if you're able to find any Beatle records that are laying around somewhere at a flea market or somewhere, maybe they'll have better luck than I will. So I got a few examples here for you guys, and we'll start first with iconic cover. Actually, it was used twice. Meet the Beatles. Make sure it doesn't get... Hi, Duncan. Duncan's interested in... It looks like John Lennon. Would you get out of here? Come here. Come here. Come here. Get out. Go lay down. We're going to bed soon. Don't worry. He's tired. Anyway, this record is in... Duncan, come on. Out of here. Out. Go lay down. This record's in rough shape. What I was able to find, as you can see, it has a gold record certification on it. What that means is this is obviously not a first press. This is something from maybe a year later, maybe a couple of years later. The problem is that they would print these records pretty much the same all the time, and just remake them. Like if you bought a record in 1963 or you bought a record in 1973, the same exact album, it really wouldn't make a whole lot of difference. There are sometimes there can be some differences on the back of the record, just different setups there, different song lists. And there's actually another album. The next album that I go over will be that. But you've read about them in Time, Newsweek, the New York Times. Here's the big beat sound of that fantastic, phenomenal foursome, Meet the Beatles. I believe that's written by Derek Taylor. He usually wrote what was on the back of the albums. There's obviously a studio photo of the four and the songs. And the record itself... This one is warped, as you can see, pretty clearly. These were all $3, so I'm not really worried about, But, if I can really get in close on that, let me see if I can get in there good. You can see the ASCAP and the BMI does not stand for body mass index. It's something regarding the trademarks and the you know what I mean. But for all intents and purposes, what I've found with this record is that it is real. It's from the 60s, but it's probably a later pressing of the album. So cool. And even though it's warped, scratch wise it looks like it's in pretty good shape, and it would probably play pretty decently. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not familiar with record players, and if anybody who out there is, please tell me that, whether or not it would play right or not. But, it's open on both sides. Certainly, I'm not looking to sell any of these records because they're not worth anything. So the next one in our arsenal here is going to be this bad boy. Introducing the Beatles. So the story behind this record, the original version, is that Capitol was giving George Martin a lot of trouble with releasing the Beatles albums here in the States. And he was forced to go out into all of these small record labels like VJ, and you can see the VJ symbol right there. VJ, Swan, little labels that really weren't that big, and he basically put these albums out without the blessing of Capitol. Once the Beatles got to number one with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," they kind of changed their tune a bit, and they decided to take over their recording. So they made all of these albums illegal, and the first pressings are obviously worth a hell of a lot of money. Especially this is a rare record. A couple of the things that I was able to find is if you see George there, there's usually a pretty pronounced shadow next to him. You can see that it's been cropped, and this is definitely a fake version or a later version of the album. The VJ label is, you can tell it's kind of low quality. I don't know how well you can see the color shift there, but if you look at Meet the Beatles, even though these are two different record labels, you can see the color shifting on Meet the Beatles. You can see all the colors, right? But if you look on this one, I don't know if you'll still be able to hear me. You can see how much cheaper the color shifting is on this one, how it almost goes to black. But this one is really nice. You got a nice color shift, nice printing. Here you got a dull kind of gray instead of here it's very silver and when you put it up to the light you can see. So that's why this Meet the Beatles version is an actual Capitol record. And even the original VJs of introducing the Beatles were a lot nicer than this one. So this is a fake. I don't even know how it would sound, but it does. The vinyl does look of pretty cheap quality, just in looking at it. But again, I'd still listen to that bad boy and see what it sounds like. But there's a lot of. This is the back of it. There's a lot of ways that you can tell that this is not an original. And again, going over them would kind of bore you, but if anybody out there wants to, comment about it or whatever, ask me about some of the things that I researched regarding it, let me know. The next one I have is an example of an actual copy, and I know a lot of you Beatles fans of vinyl will the radar will go up, and you want me to steam the hell out of this one because it's yesterday and today. And the story behind this one is obviously the Butcher cover, the famous Butcher cover, which, for those of you who don't know, the Beatles' original cover of this album was quite interesting. It featured the Beatles in lab coats with a bunch of raw meat and chopped up baby dolls. And it was pretty avant-garde, and they just thought, it's some photographer with this stupid idea or whatever. It's kind of like Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball these days. Like, let's do a video where, you're like making love to a sledgehammer. Kind of the same thought, some kind of crazy lunatic director or lunatic photographer just gets in their head that they're going to, that's it. So, obviously everybody went crazy. Capitol pulled all the records. Maybe only pressed about 50,000. Another 50,000 had a sticker of this applied over it. And then the rest were all printed like this. And this is one of the later printings of yesterday and today. Again, in looking at the record, you can see nice label, real label. The only problem is on this side, I don't know what the heck's all over it. So I don't even know if playing it would be a good idea. It looks like something was spilled on it or something at one point. So playing it would probably just gum up the needle pretty bad if I tried to play it. God knows. But that's, yesterday and today. Another real one that I have that I found, and mainly the only reason I got it was because, everybody knows this one, and it's my favorite Beatles album because it's the best Beatles album ever made. It's Abbey Road, and this is the real deal. This is falling apart, but it is from 1969. And of course, you have on these later ones the Apple logos, which, you know, are just awesome. But nice vinyl. It's in pretty good shape. There are a couple of dings and scratches in it, but I have a feeling that listening to this would be a revelation. And I really can't wait to listen to it. But, you know, a cool just sidebar. So, ending up with my last vinyl version of a Beatles record, as soon as I can get this back in plastic. It's giving me some problems. Hang on one second. But the next one that I'm going to show you is an example of actually a reissue. And when I say reissue, I mean very recent, very, very recent, probably in the last 10, 15 years. This is a reissue of the White Album. And as you can see, it has the Beatles in gray. The original White Album did not have anything on it. It just had erased the Beatles. There was no grayness there. This is a later thing, so that it made it easier for people to read. But the original Beatles White Album was. So everybody, I mean, this is iconic. Everybody has seen this. But if you look, beautiful. It's in perfect shape. It's never been played. Somebody gave this to me actually, and it is really nice, and it is really perfect. Not a scratch on it. Never been. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. I don't know if you can see the vinyl from there, but that is a record right there, my friends. But really, let me try to see. It's really difficult to tell, you know, the difference between the reissues and not reissues. This version, as I said, it is really like brand new. It even still has the poster, which I don't know if anybody's ever seen this poster. It was a poster that was put out by the Beatles in the original White Album. On this side, it has kind of a lot of crazy images of the Beatles. Where's the one of... there's a really small picture somewhere that I wanted to zoom in on because it's a funny story. Down here. You see that picture that I'm zooming in on of Paul in the glasses and the mustache, and on the other side, in case you're wondering, the lyrics to the songs. But anyway, that picture is part of the mythos of the Paul is dead thing. I don't know if anybody's ever looked into that, but that's a lot of fun. That Paul McCartney died in 1966, and the Beatles hired a lookalike to play Paul's part for the rest of the Beatles career. And then he went on to have a very successful solo career, apparently. It's amazing. But, so that's just a little sidebar. Anyway, I really like vinyl. It's one of those things that, you know, I wish I had a record player. I think after this Christmas I'm going to look into one. They're pretty cheap. They're pretty inexpensive. But, you know, just a fun little video showing you guys some of my Beatle vinyl. And, you know, any questions or any comments or anything, you know what to do. So I hope you enjoyed my rambling about Beatles records. And if there's a video you'd like me to make about one of these records in particular, just holler and I'll do that, definitely. So, thanks for watching.